Hey guys, I wanted to give a little update. I was thinking a bit yesterday about the climate change series videos. I think I'm going to pivot on them just a little bit. I'm still going to produce them, but I'm going to just change a little bit about how they're being produced and what they're going to contain. And I wanted to just update you guys and get your feedback on what I'm thinking here. Biggest way to inspire other people is actually just to show how nice the life can be. So this is why there's a lot of food forest walk-arounds in my videos, which is hard to do now in the wintertime, which is kind of another reason for making these videos. But I find that when people walk by my house on the street and stop and ask to kind of like, what's going on in here? This is different. When I walk those people around my land, those are the people who really kind of stop and say, holy smokes, this is amazing. I actually want this. I want this on my land. I want to have trees. I want to be able to just go outside and grab a peach. Like that peach, the one that just tastes unbelievable. I want that as part of my life. And through showing people how good this life can be, that's really where the change happens. Not by some standing on a soapbox lecturing people, specifically, especially if you're using fear as the tactic, to scaremonger people into doing actions. It's really, you get the best action out of it by making people want to do it just because like they actually want to do it. And at the same time, one of the frustrating things for me when I got started into just planting trees and gardening as a whole is how much hand-me-down information is out there in this space. So one of my biggest passions is actually to get science and critical thinking into the world of gardening, specifically into permaculture, which can attract people who love the permaculture in terms of the integration of the world, spreading peace, love, and happiness, that side of things. But it's really important that if we're going to design future food systems based on this core design principle, that they're backed in efficiencies, biochemistry, microbiology, soil chemistry, hydrology, geology. These kind of things really are core to if we should do something or not. So my focus on these videos and this channel in general is twofold, both to inspire people, but to also educate and bring a critical thinking level to the world of permaculture. Now, rewatching the video that I did on the climate change, my goal with those videos was to add a sense of urgency to people, to attract people who are attracted by the climate change discussion that's going on, and get them planting trees and not just protesting, because it's through action that we are going to save the planet. Especially and critically in this specific area of climate change, really the worst offenders in the world are the coal, oil, and gas producers. But they're only profitable because we support them. So while people say it doesn't matter what the individual does, as long as 90% of the emissions are coming from 10% of the companies on the planet, or 5%, the top 100 companies produce 90% of the carbon emissions, that sort of stuff. The important thing to get out of that, however, is that we do have power, because it's our choices in the things that we buy and the way that we live our life that is the profit source for those companies. So if we make different choices, those companies become less profitable. And specifically, if we make choices to support the green companies and the companies that are driving change and driving us into the third industrial revolution, to drive us to the information age, to drive us to the green revolution, then all of a sudden we put pressure on coal, oil, and gas to become greener and evolve with the demands of the marketplace. So this is a really important part, and this is how we as individuals can fight against the giants. Okay, so why am I pivoting on the climate change videos? I'm pivoting on the climate change videos just slightly because I want them to really align with my core message in my YouTube channel of empowering people and causing action. When we spread and scare people, and I mentioned it in the video, I don't want to scare people, right? I want to empower people. I want to inspire people. But when we when we scare people and we get fear as the underlying motivator for performing actions, sometimes that can be paralyzing and people will give up. I really want people to act. I really want people to plant trees. I want people to change the planet, but not just for the sake of planting trees and changing the planet. I want people to do these things because it just makes sense from a multitude of factors, from health benefits, from wildlife benefits, from beauty of the land, from increasing your house value, and saving you money on food that you would otherwise buy in the store, and that the food actually tastes better as well. I want people to understand that planting a tree for climate change is a bad idea because it's not going to be sustainable long term. However, planting a forest on your front lawn or a part of your front lawn to grow food, because you do it for health reasons, because you do it to save money, because you do it to attract wildlife, which then is kind of food for your soul, those are the reasons that keep people active in this long term. And those are the ways that people change generationally, where they teach their kids this way of life and that this is the proper way to live. My focus needs to stay there. So the change is going to be that the topics in each video, they will apply to climate change, but that's not going to be the focus. The focus is actually going to be on how these changes and these aspects of climate change, how your actions as an individual will better your life, your everyday life, will make your garden stronger, will make your trees healthier, and will make you healthier and happier. So every video that I produce, I'm going to relate it into how it's actually going to impact your life, not just this invisible climate change boogeyman. Okay, it's going to actually make your life better by making your garden more productive, or by making your food taste better, or by making you have to do less work by watering less. Lastly, what this means is that some of the topics that relate directly to climate change, but do not actually necessarily have a very tangible impact to the human being, I may not discuss. Okay, so even though there could be, second layer connections to that. So for example, climate change, changing ocean currents, and all the devastating effects that that's going to have in certain areas of the world, causing refugee crises and all this sort of stuff. That's kind of where I want to get away from here. I don't want to necessarily focus on those things that are going to cause fear and panic and just create arguments. What I really want to do is, if I can't tie something directly into how your life specifically is going to get better, then I can't necessarily impact someone who doesn't even believe in climate change, because why would they take an action that's not even going to impact them when they actually don't even believe that it's a real thing? So my focus is going to remain on how I can make everyone's individual lives better. Most importantly, I'm probably going to change the topic of the video from climate change, because I found something else very interesting. Looking at the core demographics and the analytics on those videos, I noticed something interesting, that I was getting a lot of traffic through just straight up YouTube searches on climate change. That's it, climate change. And all my negative comments came from people who were just YouTube searching climate change. They also had the lowest watch time of the videos. So people who don't believe in climate change, I think, really fall into two core demographics. They either don't currently believe in it. They believe some narrative that's being spilled about how people driving climate change are really trying to, take displace industry and get money into people's hands and steal tax dollars from taxing the air and all these kind of arguments. I'll leave that for another time. I don't necessarily want to get into something long on that. But there's a lot of people out there, and they're the squeakiest wheels, that are literally just searching up climate change and then just pooping on the videos and putting all this vitriol out there into the world, and they don't actually even watch anything. So some of my most negative comments coming from the people watching the videos, they actually didn't even watch the videos. They're just searching climate change up and then coming on and being negative. So those kind of people are not going to be changed. And we have to understand that we're not going to be able to help and change everybody. But my goal is to show people that actions that we would do for climate change are just smart up actions regardless of any justification. They're just smart things to do anyways for, economics even. Those are the people that I want to help spur into action. So the core focus of the videos going forward is going to be on that. They'll probably have an introduction section like this, where I discuss what I'm about to discuss. I highlight what I'm about to discuss. And then in the video, and especially at the end, I'm going to really tie it back into what the home gardener can do in this aspect, whether it's soil water retention, whether it's building the carbon sponge, whether it's protecting soils from sun, whether it is water management, whether it is fungal issues, whether it's insecticides and pesticides and herbicides. There's a multitude of climate change topics that are directly directly relatable to the home gardener. And I'm going to really make sure that that's where the key focus is. That's going to be that extra layer of stacked efficiency and value that you're going to get from watching those videos. So hopefully you stick around and watch these climate change series videos. The titles might change, but the core principle is going to be highlighting the importance of the action, but then making sure that it impacts your life, specifically your life, in a positive way. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next time.